Hi, Five. Miss Griffiths here. So here is an art lesson. It's actually an art lesson based on a local artist called Chris Morgan. So that's Chris Morgan there. Chris Morgan is a self-taught artist who often paints hyper-real paintings. So hyper-real means very, very realistic. Hyper means over, so it's like super realistic, really detailed. Although he does like to maintain a sense that each work is a painting and not a photograph. So some of his paintings we'll see look really detailed, they look like photographs. But upon close inspection, the viewer, you are able to see the subtle paint strokes and textures that go into each piece. So his pieces are quite large, covering a couple of square meters. He began his creative journey at an early age, where he recalls always having a pencil to paper and drawing his family and the world around him. Okay, so this could be you in the future, professional artist. So let's look at some examples of his work. So this is a painting. Again, looks like a photo. Again, look at the detail. That's where the hyperrealism comes in. It looks so real, even just the way the light is shining off those crinkled cans. We've got a packet roll. You can see the detail there. See the little, not smooth. It looks like it's been a bit buffed up. Paper's been ripped. It's kind of zoomed in as well. So this is a very large painting. So again, he's using lots of brush strokes to get all the detail of all those folds, and look at that, very, very detailed. And very vivid colours as well, very stand out, like they would do on a real roller packet here. Here we've got some sweets in a bowl. And again, so he draws everyday objects, not all food. Some really close up and real fine details if you zoomed in, real bright colours. And here he's got some Lego Avengers figures. Again, look at the shape, he's got the shadows in 3D. Again, they look so realistic, like they would actually do. I'm sure some of you have got some of those at home. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways you can do some similar artwork, some hyper-real artwork. The great thing about this artwork is that Chris Morgan uses lots of everyday objects, so you can look at things around the house. So I picked up my snack for today, got a Kit Kat, and in this first strategy I'm going to show you some 2D drawing you could do based on Chris's work. And on this I use the packaging to help me, so it's going to recreate some of the Kit Kat packaging. Great first step in this one is that you have to eat the Kit Kat. So that was a nice step for me. I enjoyed that bit. And then I've got the wrapper, so I clean that up. And then I cut off a bit of the wrapper and I stuck it down on the paper. And what I wanted to do to help me practice this skill and this accuracy, I'm going to carry on the drawing next to the wrapper there. I could do it completely from scratch. That's up to you if you want to do that. But for me, I wanted that next to me so I could see the comparison. I also kept the rest of the wrapping nearby so I could use it as well. So here I started doing some of the drawings, trying to do it as accurate as possible, nice sharp pencil. Going really lightly at first, going over it a bit more. Again, I didn't want it to be too dark, I just made a mistake. So going over and over lines when I was more and more confident. And again, I didn't want really thick grey lines because on this part of the packaging there weren't thick grey lines. So I wanted to be able to cover those lines when I coloured it in. So I started colouring in. I was using pencil crayon for this one. Could use felt tip. I thought the pencil crayon, the shade matched quite well. Here you can see, especially around the A there, just light colouring it didn't really work. To make it really vivid, there had to be no white really. It had to be as block of colour as much as possible. Because you can see in the real packaging there aren't bits of white where the colour's not been done in. So I've done that there. And trying to stick as close as possible. And if I slightly unfocus my eyes, they sort of blur into one. I'm sure yours would be much better. Here I wanted the edge thing, and so I just used the real one. And actually, in this example, I'm doing a real size Kit Kat representation rather than doing a very big version. So I used the serrated edge there just to give me an idea. I want to be as accurate as possible. I started doing it there, and then realised it wasn't quite big enough, wouldn't quite look right. Oh, now I also added in the calorie little logo there as well, just to make it a bit more realistic. And coloured that in again, trying to colour it in. Had a really sharp red pencil to go over. It did take a bit of time, but it did definitely look better when I did that. Again, wanting to fill in all the way around the edges. And that's my drawing compared to a real Kit Kat. So actually, I was quite happy with that. Art's not my strongest subject, but I quite enjoyed doing that. It's nice to be able to compare and see the similarities. Okay, so some of that accuracy there compared to the real thing, and having half my drawing, half of the real packaging really helps. I'm sure there's lots of logos, lots of packaging around your house you could do that with. Now, a lot of Chris's artwork was 3D. This is not my drawing. This is a picture I took of a Lego block. I took a picture on my phone. You do want to tell it just so I had that to refer to because it was zoomed in. I had the Lego block on the table, but I wanted to do a zoomed in version, so I had that photo to keep referring to there. So that's what I was trying to draw. And so I'm going to go through some of my attempts now in different stages. So I drew the outline to the 3D shape, the cuboid shape. Again, I've put a link to a YouTube video about drawing 3D shapes on the website, which if you want to find out more about, you can. So I just started really lightly. Yeah, I think that's a real top tip. Go through really lightly. You can rub that out, go over it again. But if it's too thick, it's hard to rub out. Yeah, it's always easier to go over more than take away. New shading or colouring. But then I added some of the little story bits on top. Again, really lightly, bit of a sketch. I was going to sort out the shapes again a bit later on, so I'm going to go over the outline. Got the rough shape, the rough sort of spacing. I was looking at the picture really carefully, as much as I could. And then I just added colour, so I've not added any other shading. I've gone for felt tip on this one, just because I wanted the vivid yellow, and also I'm going to add some shadow on later with pencil. So having that felt tip base really helped. So there, I've just added colour. I've not added anything more to my outline yet. It was a yellow block. What I did here, I went over the outline of the outside of the actual shape that I see. So I went around the top of these round bits. Didn't go over the bits underneath yet. And then I went around these lines here, just make them stand out a bit more. Again, not too thick, so they're not black in real life. You just see the edges. And what I did here, I added some shadow. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm sure you guys can do a good job as well, but I wanted to make it look 3D. So I did a bit of shadow by sketching just with a pencil and down here. Then do it light, and then you can always add more, but you can't do lots and then take it away. It doesn't quite look the same. So I did that. I'm trying to get the 3D effects. I was referring to the photo I took again to see where the shadow was, and I imagined that the light was kind of sort of over here. That's why the shadow was over here as well. The shadow behind those bits. And just add the final detail. Again, I looked at my picture, got the spot really close, added a bit more shadow around here, and realised there was actually a little Lego carving into each of the bits that stuck up there, so I added that. So that's my attempt at a Lego block. That's my first attempt, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm sure you guys can do better. On hindsight, I might make that line a bit further down, it's a bit wide with the bottom. But again, I've drawn, and that's an A3 bit of paper, so on a really big Lego block, trying to get the details there. So that's my attempt at hyperreal art. I hope you have a go home. I hope you enjoy that as well. Great to see some pictures. And again, if you Google Chris Taylor, Chris Morgan even, there are lots more of his work online. And again, it's really, really impressive. That hyperreal effect of they look like photographs, like really detailed, zoomed in photographs. They're actually just really detailed paintings. We'll look at some of his work another time as well. But for now, enjoy your artwork, and I will speak to you soon. All right, bye for now.